All right, everyone, welcome back. I believe this should be part 3, and I think hopefully the last part of this video series of our course introductions. So let's get to it. So what I wanted to discuss in this round of videos is what this class is going to be like and what you can expect about learning in oceanography. So something that's kind of a common misconception is that oceanography is just about the animals. And sorry to burst that lovely bubble, but oceanography is not just on the animals. We're going to learn so much more about the oceans, including the geology, the physics, the atmosphere, climate change, and we'll learn a little bit about the biology too, but it's not going to be this whole course. So if you're looking for something like that, you're looking for a marine biology class, which I do believe actually SMCCD does offer. But if you want to learn more about the oceans and not just about the animals, this is going to be the class for you. What I also don't want you to expect is exams based solely on the PowerPoint slides. So basically what that means is even though I post the lecture slides, that just looking at those is not going to be enough. Okay, so you're going to need to do more work than just looking at the slides in order to succeed in this class. So our exams and all of our other assignments are going to be based on our class discussions, on the readings, on our PowerPoint slides, and on our guided notes, just on all of these things all put together. All right. So especially the short answer questions on your exams. I mean, you're not going to be able to just use Google and call it a day. There's going to be a little bit more work involved in that. What I would also love for you to expect is assessment questions in every class meeting. So especially in this hybrid form of the class, when we're in person, that is required. So there is an exit ticket portion of the class, meaning you do have to show up and you'll get credit for showing up. And I'm gonna, try to get a course community kind of built, or a class community built around that, and built around connecting with our peers. We've had online classes for the last, almost 3 years now. And, we all kind of got tired of it, right? So now we need to take advantage of this in-person sort of situation. And obviously we're going to be using Connect with this class, and that's closely following textbook resources. The SmartBook reading assignments, number 1, is going to be something that you are going to need to not procrastinate on. And I'm going to try and promote active learning and discussion in our classroom community. So being in class, being present, asking questions, answering questions, that's going to really help you retain the information and understand it a lot more. And also I want you to expect to be challenged, all right? So this isn't an easy A class. Sorry, just to throw that one out there. But it's also extremely hard to fail my class. The biggest reason why students fail is because they just stop showing up and stop doing the work. Okay, so that's not, it's as long as you show up, do the work, do what I ask, you're gonna get a just fine grade in this class. But if you don't show up and you don't do the work, then you're not gonna do so hot. Okay, but this is also a science class, and science isn't always the easiest thing ever. I'll try and make it as easy as I can for you. But it's certainly not the easiest class. Or, science just isn't super easy. So something that I want to touch on in terms of classroom community, first of all, teaching is not a one-way street. It's a two-way street, right? So you have to expect to learn from me, and I'm also going to learn from you, right? It's a two-way street. If we find out that some aspect of this course isn't working, then I'll make adjustments, or, maybe something about my style doesn't work for you, and so we can make some adjustments there. But we are all one entity. We are all one community. We are all one. All right. Even though we all come from very diverse backgrounds, we have very different educational backgrounds or socioeconomic backgrounds, or different genders or sexualities or whatever, but I want you to know as well that I accept any and all human beings. I don't care what your race, your skin color, what you identify as. I don't care about that necessarily. In terms of my class and in terms of what I'm going to teach you, that has I accept everybody, basically. I don't know what else I'm trying to say other than I accept everybody. And I really try my best to promote an equitable space, and I'll touch on that here in just a second. But I also just want to touch on communication of science. We are going to be talking about science in this class, but something that we're also going to do, you don't have to worry about saying things exactly correctly or like typing something out perfectly. I'm not going to judge you for any of that, right? If we're looking at a graph and I ask you, what do you see? What do you observe? And you simply say the line is going up. Yes, that is correct. The line is going up. So now we can dive further into what that means. What does it mean that a line is going up over time? It would, of course, depend on the variable that we're looking at, but that's what I mean. Or if we're looking at satellite imagery and we're looking at a loop and I ask you, what do you see? You can simply say the swirly thing is going up and to the right. You don't have to worry, at least in my class, you don't have to worry about being like super on the nose with vocabulary. Just tell me what you see. Tell me what you observe. Tell me what sort of conclusion you can draw from that. And then also the last thing is contextualizing the material. So really just trying to digest the material and in a way that works for you. So going back to this idea of equity, right? So equity simply means the quality of being fair and even-handedness and being impartial. So you've probably heard about this a little bit, kind of throughout your years of life, the differences between equality and equity. There are some differences there. With equality, it would be like me giving everyone all the same resources and not giving out any extra help or extra resources or extra anything. I would just give everybody the same and call it a day. Doesn't matter what your background is. So something that I like to, or my analogy that I like to use for this is think about a math class, right? So think about your own personal math background. So say some of us are like already taking calculus 2. Say this person here on the left, the really tall person already, has already completed calculus 2, or is in calculus 2 right now. Maybe this middle person is kind of at where a lot of us kind of end up, maybe taking trig or something. And then maybe some of us, we barely passed algebra 2, or maybe didn't even get to algebra 2. Right? So if I gave everyone the same resources, then the person who barely got to algebra 2 is really going to suffer. And the person who is in calculus 2 is completely unnecessary, right? So being equitable would mean that maybe the person who's in calculus 2 doesn't need those extra resources. And you know what? Maybe even that person could help out the other people and raise them up a little bit, which would also is actually beneficial, by the way. If you're like really understanding the material, if you can teach it, you'll gain an even bigger understanding of it. Anyway, or the person that, is kind of even-keeled, didn't need anything extra, doesn't need anything extra. Everything that I gave them is totally fine. Maybe the person that needs a little bit of extra help, all this person needs to do is be like, hey, Mallory, I need an extra box. I need a little bit of extra help. I need some sort of extra resource to get me so I can see over this fence because I'm really not feeling it right now. And that is 100% okay. All you have to do is communicate with me. You just got to let me know. What else extra do you need? Do you need more time? Do you need one-on-one chats with me? Do you need a tutor that I can maybe try and find? Oceanography teachers or oceanography tutors, are a little hard to find. But you got to let me know. And I want you to not feel embarrassed about asking for extra help or think I'm going to judge you or anything that's negative connotation. I don't want you to think any of that. Okay. So you just got to let me know. Communication is so key in all of this. in this whole relationship that we're going to have this semester, communication is number one, okay? So you just got to let me know, and I'm happy to help in any way that I can, okay? Last thing I want to talk about in this particular video is something around barriers to student success, right? So say, I think a lot of us have probably experienced this before, and if you haven't, bless you. But, something that always hurt me when I was going to school was course availability. Maybe the class that you want to take isn't being offered this semester, or the class you want to take is being taught by a professor that you absolutely know you don't like, and so you're not going to take it. Or maybe your advisor just is never available for you to help. Or money. This is a big one. I know for SMCCD, which is a beautiful thing this semester, that tuition is free, which is awesome. But, maybe the cost of housing or the cost of commuting. The gas prices were insane a couple of months ago. Not to say they're not still bad now, but, they were like, almost $7 a gallon at one point? Or we live in the Bay Area. It's so freaking expensive to live here, that kind of stuff. So money can be a big barrier to student success. But something that's also a huge barrier is a sense of belonging, right? So maybe you've heard of something called imposter syndrome, or maybe you're a younger student and you don't feel like you belong, or an older student and you don't necessarily feel like you belong, or a first generation and your family is forcing you to go to college, something like that, where it's really hard to feel like you should be where you are. But I want you to know that in my class, you are where you're supposed to be. And it's okay if later on you decide that college ain't for you. That's okay. All right. It's not pushed enough, in my opinion, that college ain't for everybody. But what I want you to know is you do belong here in my class, and you do belong learning about our lovely planet and getting a better appreciation for this thing that we call home, and our only home at this point. Okay. So I just want you to know that I do care about you, and you do belong here in this class this semester, hanging out with all of us. So that's part 3 of our 4-part video series, and your last video is just a quick explanation of the pre-assessment activity that I want you all to do. So thank you very, very much once again for sticking through these couple of videos here. So I appreciate you, and I cannot wait to meet you all on Thursday. See you then. Thanks for watching.